William DuPont started collecting American rooms in the early 1920s. And into the 50s and 60s, he was buying rooms. And so he would find out about a house in Philadelphia is being torn down. He'd buy the parlor. Port Royal was a famous house in Philadelphia that was getting torn down, and he bought the rooms from that. Incredible 1640 to 1860, all kind of pre-industrial kind of rooms, handmade, hand-built stuff. Montmorency was a house from North Carolina that he bought and installed a bunch of the millwork in his house. And so in that famous stair hall, you see this a beautiful elliptical stair going up 3 floors, done in the Federal style from North Carolina, and it's one of my favorites. Realized that, you know, it was one of Mr. DuPont's favorite rooms as well, because that was the entry hall. That was kind of an entry point that people led. That's where their Christmas tree was. That's where they spent a lot of time as a family. And so this was, you know, the house grew over time and kept growing. But at one point, especially when the DuPonts lived there, it was kind of this main showstopper entry hall with this incredible stair. So it's done in the Federal style. Remember, Federal is kind of that 1780, 1790 to the 1820s, 1830s. Montmorency was this house in North Carolina that was built, really a wonderful house. We know that he ordered a lot of his stuff from Philadelphia. He ordered, you know, his composition moldings. The Federal style is kind of a departure from the Georgian. It's not as heavy, it's not as bold, and so the moldings aren't as heavy, and they would apply these composition moldings to the face of things so that you would have kind of this dainty light feel. Now, looking around that room and the amazing things they did there, you'll see these amazing windows, this wainscot with this very interesting woodwork inside there. There's the chair rail or cap of the wainscot has this neat architectural detailing in it. And so what that is, what you're looking at is Federal detailing, because Federal detailing, as opposed to being heavy and bold, was light. And so you'd almost have to get up close to see how much detail is going on there. A Federal stair like this means that the balusters, the individual spigots or balusters, were smaller, okay? And the volute at the bottom of the stair is tighter. And so versus like a Georgian stair like you would see at Philadelphia Hall or something like that, those balusters were, you know, 2-3 inches thick. The balusters at Montmorency are 1 inch by 3/4 kind of thing. They're small, right? They're that the whole dainty feel like. The other thing that you'll see is that on the Georgian stair, you might have these hard turns and lines and things, and it'd just be a heavy, bold stair. The graceful elliptical turn that's taking place with this Montmorency stair is part of the magic and part of like the elliptical shape. The fan lights over front door were often elliptical, right? Because they brought in that oval shape inspiration as opposed to the circle, which is part of the Georgian. So one of the things that's interesting about Montmorency is that at the time when Mr. DuPont was buying rooms, okay, the whole market of buying period rooms was a big deal. There is a whole book called Moving Rooms, which goes back to the European example and how rooms used to be traded, bought, sold. And there was actually a group of designers who would go out on these things and go looking for rooms that were going to be sold, houses that are falling into disrepair. And at Montmorency, there was a number of people looking, because this was a great early 1800s house that had just fallen into disrepair after the Civil War. Mr. DuPont actually got in a car and drove there. Now, he had to kind of do it under the cover of night. I don't think he went there at night, but it was one of those things where he had to be secretive about it, because if word got out that he was trying to buy this room, obviously the prices double, you know, the prices go up. And so he kind of sneakily went in there and checked it out and was like, yeah, no, this is incredible, and ended up purchasing the room. So there's a whole bunch of back office dealings and you know, under the counter things that were going on that were part of, you know, moving these rooms around and buying these spaces, because there was a great love for this beautiful design that we can't get that anymore.